Hello students and welcome to English 11. I am Mrs. Hawksma. You also might be in Mrs. Gray's class as she also teaches English 11 here at Odyssey. The first concept that we are going to tackle this year is thesis statements. Hopefully by the end of semester 1 and definitely by the end of semester 2 you will know how to confidently write a strong thesis statement for any writing assignment that you may receive either through high school, into your adult life, or college. So let's begin by telling you a little bit about what a thesis statement is. Okay, so what is a thesis statement? A thesis statement is one sentence, okay? So when you're writing your thesis statements, remember they are one sentence. That sentence is specific and it summarizes the point or the argument that's being presented in a short essay, argument, or research paper. The thesis statement for an essay typically appears toward the end of the first introduction paragraph. You want to get your thesis statement out there for your reader right there in the beginning, so near the end of your first paragraph. So we're going to break this larger definition into some smaller parts. When you summarize something, it means that you concisely means to make it very simple and with as few words as possible. So you summarize with as few words as possible the main ideas or main points of your argument, and you always use your own words, not the words of somebody else. Okay, so what are you summarizing? What are you putting in a few words? Well, it's your main idea of your essay, okay, or other written material that you're working on. It's the point that the author is trying to make. So whatever the main idea of what you are trying to get across to your reader. It is the most important thing that you want your reader to understand about your paper. So this should be in your thesis. Think about what is the number one thing that I want my reader to understand about my paper when you're trying to write your thesis statement. So make sure that it's specific, and specific means to make sure that it's detailed and narrow and focused. You're not trying to create this huge broad argument for a paper. I'm not going to ask you to write pages and pages and pages or a novel, but you'll be writing our short 1 to 3 page papers. So you need to make sure that your thesis is narrow so you can tackle it in those short 1 to 3 page papers. Okay, this is what strong thesis statements do. Strong thesis statements either take a stand on something, okay, or they justify a discussion about a topic. They express one idea and they are specific. Okay, so they take a stand, they justify a discussion about the topic, it expresses one idea, and they're very specific. When you write a thesis statement, you should ask yourself a few questions. Okay, first ask yourself, what is my topic? Okay, what am I writing about? Then ask yourself, how do I feel about it? What is important about it? And then you combine your answers to these two questions into one concise sentence to help you write your thesis statement. It's very important at this point in your academic careers, you are almost ready to graduate high school either this year or next, that you don't write in first person. And writing in first person would be like, you would say, I think that the death penalty is wrong because, or in my opinion, the death penalty is immoral because. It's very simple to not do this. You just eliminate the I think or in my opinion portion. Instead of saying, I think the death penalty is immoral because, you just say, the death penalty is immoral because, and then you would state your reasons. A thesis statement that takes a stand would sound something like this, a strong one. Because banana herb tea supplement promotes rapid weight loss that results in the loss of lean muscle and lean body mass, it poses a potential danger to customers. Okay, so this thesis statement is taking a stand. It's saying, because this tea supplement does these bad things to your body, it poses a danger. A weak thesis statement on the same topic would say something like, there are some negative and positive aspects of the banana tea supplement, herb tea supplement. Okay, a thesis statement that would justify further discussion. A strong thesis statement that justifies further discussion might read, while many American families may view consanguineous marriage as a threat to the nuclear family, many Iranian families feel that these marriages reinforce kinship ties within an extended family. So in case you didn't know, consanguineous marriage is marriage within families, so like marriage amongst second or third cousins. And that Americans feel that this is a threat to nuclear families, and Iranians feel that it reinforces kinship. So this would justify further discussion, and you could discuss it further in your paper. A weak statement would say, my family is an extended family. Okay, that is not a strong thesis statement because it's kind of a fact. My family is an extended family. We can't discuss that any further. It doesn't justify a discussion. So therefore that would be a weak thesis statement. So a thesis statement that expresses one main idea.
Sunny, if you're in the building, please call extension 5530. Christy, Sunny, if you're in the building, please call extension 5530.
Sorry for that interruption. So a thesis statement that expresses one main idea. Here's an example. Because the internet is filled with tremendous marketing potential, companies should exploit this potential that offer both advertising and customer support. Okay, so we have one, we're not going to talk about the whole internet, we're making it specific, one main idea. The internet offers marketing potential. A weak thesis statement on the same topic might read, companies need to support the marketing potential of the internet, and web pages should contain both advertisements and customer support. A thesis statement that is specific. Okay, you want your thesis statements to be specific. So a strong specific thesis statement says hunger persists in Appalachia because jobs are scarce and farming in the infertile soil is rarely profitable. Okay, so here we have our topic, hunger in Appalachia, and we are saying why there is hunger in Appalachia. Farming is scarce and the soil is infertile and not profitable. So it's specific in that we're talking about Appalachia. A weak similar thesis statement would say something like world hunger has many causes and effects. So here are some things that a thesis statement can never be. Never write a thesis statement that is a question. Okay? Never, thesis statements are not statements of purpose. They don't say stuff like, my paper is about the death penalty. This paper will present an argument against the death penalty. These are not thesis statements. And a thesis statement does not simply state a topic. It doesn't say death penalty. Okay? That's not a complete sentence. It's not a thesis statement. So, here are some examples. Is this thesis statement strong or weak? What are the causes of violence? Oops. It's weak, of course. It's a question, okay? So it's not a thesis statement. It is a question. Strong or weak? The purpose of my paper is to identify the causes of violence. This is a weak thesis statement. It's a purpose. The purpose of my paper is blank. Okay? It's a purpose statement. It's not a thesis statement. Strong or weak? The education system in the United States. This is weak. It is neither a complete sentence nor is it a thesis statement. It simply is giving us a topic, the education system in the United States. Strong or weak? Teen pregnancy can be reduced through education, parental support, and birth control. Okay, so this is a stronger thesis statement. We have teen pregnancy maybe should be reduced. Okay, that would express more of an opinion. Teen pregnancy should be reduced through education, parental support, and birth control. So this is a strong thesis statement because it expresses an opinion and it gives us some supporting points for that opinion. Let's find the thesis statement in this paragraph. Drugs, they are wonderful. They kill pain, fight disease, and save lives. Drugs are horrible. They ruin lives, maim the body, and kill their victims. Drugs abound everywhere, and whether or not these drugs become pain relievers or painful addictions, disease fighters or disease promoters, lifesavers or sure killers is the choice of the user. Undeniably, drugs used in a restrained, controlled manner can create a wide world of medical wonders for almost every kind of ailment imaginable. But drugs used in a haphazardly, non-medical, abusive fashion can create a horrid hell or horrors for those who fall prey. It is to this latter addictive, narcotic, abusive use of drugs that humankind the world over should proclaim a loud, resounding no. So take a moment and see if you can identify the thesis statement in this introductory paragraph. Did you pick this last sentence? It is to this latter addictive, narcotic, abusive use of drugs that humankind the world over should proclaim a loud, resounding no. So we have our topic, the abusive use of drugs. We have why it's addictive and abusive and abused, and that people fall prey to it, and what should be done. Everybody should proclaim a loud and resounding no. So this last sentence is our strong thesis statement. These are strong introductory statements. This is a strong hook, and you'll learn about hooks later, but it's this last sentence that works as our strong thesis statement. Because now we know that the rest of this paper is going to talk about how we need, as a humankind, to say no to narcotics and abuse and drug abuse. Okay, I've explained all of this here for you. You can pause the video here if you want to read why these are not thesis statements. All right, and then there is our thesis statement. I said it took a strong stand. It summarized the argument of the paper to come. It's a complex sentence. It's not just simple, drugs are bad, we should not do drugs, okay? Gives us some more information, and it occurs at the end of the introduction paragraph. So let's identify the thesis statement in this paragraph. The following paragraph is the introduction for an essay on Poe's The Telltale Heart. Okay, so our essay is on the Telltale Heart. Stephen King, creator of such stories as Carrie and Pet Sematary, stated that Edgar Allan Poe's stories he read as a child gave him the inspiration and instruction he needed to become the writer that he is. Poe, as does Stephen King, fills the reader's imagination with the images that he wishes the reader to see, hear, and feel. Poe's short story, The Telltale Heart, is a story about a young man who kills an old man who cares for him, dismembers the corpse, then goes mad when he thinks he hears the old man's heart beating beneath the floorboards under his feet as he sits and discusses the old man's absence with the police. In The Telltale Heart, a careful reader can observe Poe's skillful manipulation of the senses. Okay, so the first sentence was not the thesis statement. Okay, it drew us into the paper. It talked about similarities between Stephen King and Edgar Allan Poe. But as you saw, the paper is not about similarities between Stephen King and Edgar Allan Poe. Oops. Poe's short story, The Telltale Heart, is a story about a young man. Okay. This was not the thesis statement because it's just summarizing the story for us. All right? It's just summarizing the story that the essay is going to focus on. The last sentence in The Telltale Heart, a careful reader can observe Poe's skillful manipulation of the senses. This is a good thesis statement. Okay? It says that the paper is going to talk about Poe's style, and it expresses an opinion that it was skillful, that he manipulated the senses, and it's going to, we know now what the argument for the essay is that will follow. So let's do this again. Identify the thesis. The Pentagon has twice as many bathrooms as are necessary. The famous government building was constructed in the 1940s when segregation laws required that separate bathrooms be installed for people of African descent. This building isn't the only American icon that harkens back to this embarrassing and hurtful time in our history. Across the United States, there are many examples of leftover laws and customs that reflect the racism that once permeated American society. Affirmative action needs to continue today in order to ensure all Americans have an equal chance of success regardless of skin color. All right. It wasn't the first sentence. And it wasn't the second sentence. It was, affirmative action needs to continue today in order to ensure all Americans have an equal chance of success regardless of skin color. So our topic is affirmative action. We feel that it needs to continue today, and why, so all equal Americans have an equal chance of success. Okay. So that concludes our slides on thesis statements. You might not feel super strong about it yet, but this is just the beginning. And so you can go ahead now and take the quiz questions on thesis statements, and they all follow this video, so you should do very well on this quiz. If you have any questions, you can email either Miss Gray or myself, and you should be able to find those email addresses either in your Google Mail or through Moodle.